Perfection is hell. Long story short. And I just want to jump into it. There has been a few things that have been going on throughout my mind and throughout my life as I've been sitting down and getting back into making content with this irregular ass schedule. Um, right now on the screen you're seeing Hades, so welcome. Main protagonist's name is Zagreus, and you're gonna watch me get murked a couple of times. But that's the point. Effectively killing yourself over and over and over again, as you're going to see. I say perfection is hell simply because when it comes to being a creative and within this creative space, we sit down and we hyper focus in on making sure that the art is exactly this masterpiece that's put forth between ourselves and however many other collaborators that were in the mix for us to get from point A to release. Well, from idea to release, so it makes a bit more sense. From here, basically, you get into this loop of essentially working and working and working and working on this craft for it to effectively sit on a hard drive somewhere on your computer. And it never gets the light of day. Now, I realized for myself within my training, I've never put myself out there to even get feedback. Yeah, I've had family and friends, and I've done a couple smaller things for people who were close to me at the time, which are relationships that aren't relevant at this point. However, it goes to show that these are small things that were never put forth for others to see. And as you continue going forth, you don't really have, I would say, the quote unquote educational factor. And by educational factor, more so experience. Just like school, repetition. You do it more than once, you'll likely remember it. You do it 100 times, you're way more likely to remember it. And then you do it 1,000 times, you pretty much should know it like the back of your hand. But at the end of the day, repetition doesn't change execution. No matter how many times you make something, unless you actually execute for other people to be able to experience it within this creative space, it's effectively just a long-term hobby. And that's brought me to this point where perfection has become hell for me. And I've realized that I would rather upload shit as opposed to sitting down knowing that I have, or having this perception of knowing that I have this masterpiece that really isn't a masterpiece because no one else has experienced it besides me. It doesn't change the fact that you can keep your personal opinions, and that's a bit of a tangent regarding perfection as hell. But the point is, in this space of us putting ourselves out there, the only perfection we should be able to experience is the experience of others being able to indulge in what is released. And then the hell portion of that is really the negative press or positive press you may perceive. I said perceive. You may receive and then perceive in your own time, yada, yada, yada. For me, I'm realizing that it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time holding myself back. It's a waste of time holding yourself back, not being able to execute on what it is that you truly want to do. I mean, why not? You never know what'll happen, right? You know, I made these videos at one point in my life, starting off with this goal of being able to have this, I would say, emotional breakthrough for myself. And I don't necessarily mean within like a romantic context or I can finally express myself kind of thing, but more so being able to actually articulate my thoughts and articulate my feelings in ways that I've never really seen anyone else do, and being able to give not only my take on how my experiences have led to certain things, and also what kind of, I would say, responses you can get when you sit down and really frame the situation in a new perspective or even from a different angle. You can keep the same perspective but have a different angle, and you're likely to find something new, leading to a new perspective, hopefully. But at the end of the day, everything boils down to this. Perfectionism within the creative space doesn't help in the aspect of getting to the finish line. And one thing that I'm really focused on is just allowing myself to experience failure. Because failure isn't always bad. If you don't learn from it, then it is. So realistically, why not? Why not sit down and throw as many things as you actually enjoy at the wall and see what sticks? Because realistically, chasing after the newest fad is hell. For me, I realized that I wanted to make gaming videos for a long time. The main reason I never made them is because I felt like, hey, am I really going to be able to break through in this space? Mainly because there's so many different people doing this. But the difference is how many people are doing it with a different take. How many people are sitting down making gaming videos, thinking about the emotional aspect, as well as being a creative, I don't know. And these are the things that I'm saying. You put yourself through this cycle of mental hell for some ideology of perfection, which is whatever you may have in your mind, to achieve whatever end goal, but you never get to that point because you're holding yourself back for some, imaginary reason. Because realistically, what else is there outside of being able to get the experience? Because if the moment is now, then what was the last 30 minutes? A moment that has passed. So if that is the moment that has passed, and in that moment that passed you, perfection wasn't reached, you have now gone into hell. And you effectively just linger here because in that moment you could have just executed. Much better. And this is something even I experience. For months, I've sat down and, I want to make content. I want to record stuff. I want to sit down and do this, that, and the third. And I've been preoccupied in a million different ways, truth be told. But that doesn't change the fact that I still have these thoughts. It doesn't change the fact that I still experience wanting to create and honestly just not doing so at times. The main reason that I made this is because I realized that there really is no purpose in keeping yourself in a space that doesn't serve you anymore. Now, why sit down and keep yourself in a space that you're not enjoying? Now, this premise of perfection is hell can be applied to a lot of different things. Your romantic life, your personal life, your professional life, your friends, you know what I'm saying? Even your extracurricular life, so, hobbies, organizations, things that, again, you do really to just invest your time into something that you believe you're building forth. So, keep this in mind. Because it's true. Perfection is hell. But at the same time, hell is also perfection. It goes both ways. And I'm realizing to be able to be successful, you have to experience hell to achieve quote unquote perfection. Because that's all success is. An extended duration of really putting yourself through the shits. It doesn't mean that everybody's hell looks the same, you know what I mean? Some people are in hell with $5 trillion. Some people are in hell with $2.50, $1.50. It's all perspective. However, at the end of the day, there's no need to keep yourself in a space where you're not experiencing your highest potential, or you're not even allowed to be able to push yourself close to your highest potential. For the last few years, I've effectively been pushing myself to find work, a day job, that's closer to what I'm actually trying to do with my talents. And I'm not necessarily saying I want to be stuck doing one thing with my talents. However, I wouldn't mind being able to utilize my talents to be able to work and gain work experience, and then being able to utilize that on the outside. That was something that I thought about 3 years ago. I ended up moving closer towards my dream. And the main reason that happened is because I was in a meeting and everybody told me that they gave up. I was about 24 at the time, or I just turned 24, one of the two. But most importantly, it was that moment. It was that moment that showed me I would rather experience the hell of being perfect, pushing myself to get to where I want to go, than to sit down hoping to be perfect in hell, ultimately waiting for something that'll never happen. Thank you.
You'll never beat me, Zach.